Way long ago, me and some friends would rent rooms in the lower floor of the Cascade Ski Center for the full moon ski night. It was crazy with a band playing up in the lodge by the hearth and kegs stationed out in the night by the bonfires. I didn't know at the time that all that cross-country skiing fun was the vision of Art Jubin, who owned the place. We remember what he built as the full moon ski nights are back, a little tamer this time. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Clarkson University, offering over 95 programs of study with campuses in the Hudson Valley, Central, and Northern New York. More at clarkson.edu.
Hey, I'm David Summerstein. It's Friday, March 7th. First up, tariff whiplash continued yesterday afternoon when President Donald Trump announced that most goods from Canada and Mexico will get another month-long reprieve from 25% import taxes. North Country officials say a big concern is how the tariff threats and hostility from the administration have affected the way everyday Canadians view the U.S. Kara Chapman has more.
The tariffs officially went into effect on Tuesday. On Wednesday, Trump announced a one-month exemption for U.S. automakers. Then on Thursday afternoon, he extended that to most Mexican and Canadian goods. Hours before, North Country Chamber of Commerce President Gary Douglas spoke about the tariffs at his organization's annual legislative breakfast. He said they're part of an economic war against Canada.
We were on the front line of the War of 1812. We're now on the front line of the next war between Canada and the U.S., and it's an economic war.
Douglas told attendees that in his more than 3 decades at the chamber, he's never seen anything like the Canadian people's reactions to the tariff threats.
They're angry, they're hurt, they're disturbed, they're taking it personally.
Some Canadian shoppers are boycotting U.S. products, and some would-be tourists are changing their travel plans. Douglas said he expects that to be backed up by border crossing numbers set to come out next week. He said he's heard from bridge operators that there were 10 to 20% reductions in Canadian car traffic last month compared to a year ago. Douglas told reporters he doesn't see an easy fix.
You don't have a next-door neighbor who's a friend and family member who you do damage to in some way, who becomes angry at you, is just going to let it go the next day. We're going to have to work perhaps for years to try to get back to the same place.
It's not just Canadians who don't want to see tariffs. A recent North Country Chamber survey found 97% of its members say they need to be avoided. Addressing about 160 of them at the breakfast, state legislators had mixed positions. Democratic Assemblyman Billy Jones of Chateauguay Lake said he's fully against the tariffs.
It's going to have a direct cost on the residents here in the North Country. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just going to happen. That is a fact.
Jones later issued a statement welcoming the tariff postponement, but he added that the constant threats are, quote, no way to do business with one of our longest and strongest allies, and that he'd push to make the delay permanent. State Senator Dan Steck, a Republican from Queensbury who hopes to replace Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, defended the Trump administration's motivations for imposing the tariffs. The president has said they're intended to get Mexico and Canada to address illegal immigration and fentanyl trafficking, both of which are much lower at the northern border.
The realities are that we've got a border that's been out of control for 4 years, and he's trying to get it under control again.
Douglas, the chamber president, said there are Republican representatives and members of the administration who are working behind the scenes to get Trump to abandon the tariffs on Canada. Asked whether Stefanik, the future U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, is one of them, Douglas said he never discusses his conversations with elected officials. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio, Plattsburgh.
For decades, a ski center in the Adirondacks hosted full moon parties. People would ski, drink, and catch up with friends under the moonlight. But when Cascade Ski Center was sold to the Adirondack Mountain Club a few years ago, those parties were put on pause. But now they're back. And the final one of the winter is tomorrow night from 5 until 9:30 p.m. Emily Russell was at the Full Moon Ski last month and has this story.
It's already dark when I strap on my skis at the Cascade Welcome Center in Lake Placid. It's a Saturday night in the middle of February, and it's snowing. I'm skiing with a couple friends, and they're just 30 feet in front of me, and they've got their headlamp going, and what a peaceful experience to be in the snowy woods. My own headlamp lights up the snowflakes as they float past me. There are 12 kilometers of trails out here. They wind through the woods, taking you up and down like a little roller coaster. All right, coming down a hill here, a little switchback. Woo! People have been skiing here at Cascade for decades. It was a dream turned into reality for Art Jubin, who built the ski center in the late 1970s. Jubin died last year at the age of 96. But over his lifetime, he created a community of people who were passionate about the culture and craft of skiing. People like John Rockwell, who goes by Rocky, remember Art Jubin for his ability to bring people together.
Art really had a low-key approach with his hospitality. I mean, he really wanted to get people on skis, not to intimidate them with race suits, and to have a warm, welcoming fire.
Remember, Cascade opened right around the time of the 1980 Olympics. Rocky says Jubin was far more focused on the fun of the sport. Jubin was known for his ski parties. One was so extravagant that it involved airlifting kegs of beer miles into the Adirondack wilderness. That's a story for another time. On this night, 3 months after his passing, some of Jubin's friends and family are here at Cascade to celebrate his legacy. Rocky leads them in some ski songs. Rocky recites one of those ski songs to me, which has been adapted to honor Art Jubin's legacy.
Come gather around people in Arthur's Great Hall, where winter's full moon will be toasted by all. We'll hear the coyotes let out a loud call, for many a glass will be raising, as the band shakes the windows and rattles the walls. So my friends, let's all go skiing.
Snow is blanketing the trails outside the ski center. People are here with their kids, their friends. It truly feels like a community gathering in the winter woods. Even if you don't have gear, Cascade rents out boots, poles, and skis.
8.5 and a size 9.
Zach Lawrence is behind the rental counter. He manages the ski center for the Adirondack Mountain Club, which began hosting these ski parties earlier this winter.
People wanted to see the full moon skis back. Obviously, we couldn't do them in the same way that they used to be done, but we wanted to make it a more family-friendly thing, let folks go out and enjoy the trails at night.
The Adirondack Mountain Club got a grant for motion sensor lights out on the trail. They're solar-powered and funded by the Northern Border Regional Commission. Alyssa Castelli drove up here tonight from Westport.
The idea of the full moon is pretty cool, and it's just as nice that it's snowing.
Castelli is skiing alongside her friend Amy Connor. She's from Lewis and is psyched for a night out.
We're just two moms cutting loose on a Saturday night at Cascade. Yeehaw!
There is something truly Adirondack-y about this event. People choosing to spend their weekends outside in the snow. There's a beer truck from a local brewery in the parking lot. There's hot cocoa and chili inside. Connor says this is the kind of thing that makes the Adirondacks unique.
Here we are on a Saturday night, not in a nightclub or a bar or an expensive restaurant. We're putting on our holy down jackets and, meeting other members of the community once we find that darn fire.
The trails at Cascade can be a bit confusing, especially at night. But we follow a few people around a bend in the trail, and then we see it, the big blazing bonfire. It crackles over the hum of the crowd, casting a warm light in these snowy woods. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio, Lake Placid.
Check out the really great photos that Emily took from the full moon ski. The photo she took at the bonfire out in the woods is especially award-worthy. Also, there are some terrific archival photos that Art Jubin's family sent us. They really capture the special time at the Cascade. That's at ncpr.org, and you can find more news there through the weekend, ncpr.org. Music today by I Am Snow Angel of Lake Placid and Oscar Sarmiento of Potsdam. Have a great weekend. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.